After 20 years of building together through dust, deadlines, and damn good ideas, Pace and Adam invite you to join them for honest conversations about the home building world. Welcome to Build Connected, where experience meets insight, powered by Diamond Home Restoration.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Build Connected. I am your host, Adam.
And I'm Pace.
And we're back at it again. We just finished up Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah to all of you people that celebrate Hanukkah. And now we move on to the next holiday, which is Christmas. But yeah, we're packing up, getting ready. We're gonna head to Tahoe. This is our final episode before the trip. I get out there. What about you, Pace? You're heading to the East Coast yourself.
Yeah, it's Christmas week. I am flying back to Maine tonight and doing the red eye, get in tomorrow morning. And yeah, can't wait. Couple of weeks with friends and family, and very excited.
Nice. Well, happy holidays to all of you out there, and happy and safe travels if you're going elsewhere. But let's jump in, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Our product today that we're going to talk about, this is, we're going to start a little broad and taper down, but it's really about heating is the topic of our product today. And our typical product that we're using these days is actually a mini split system. But let's just talk about some of the options that are out there. And look, we've done a lot of different heating systems over the years, but times they are changing, aren't they, Pace?
They sure are. I mean, in some regions catch up later than others.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're way behind Europe, right? Europe uses a lot of heat pump technology for a long time, and they've been on the mini split train for a while now. And I think now it's our eyes are wide open to this technology, and we're utilizing it to some extent, I would say.
Yeah, and
Um,
even the East Coast adopted earlier than we did, and we're kind of I'd say 5 years behind the East Coast.
yeah. Well, so let's talk about some of the systems, Pace. I'll say one, then you say one. We'll make a
You
little
got it.
game out of it. Okay. We've got your gas-powered forced air system that I think most of us grew up on. I had you got your heating registers in the floor and get your forced air system that just blows hot air.
Yeah, so you're saying the gas system. How about an electric system? That's another option.
Yeah, it can
A
be
lot of
electric.
different flavors of electric, but let's just say an electric furnace.
Okay, there we go. Now we're at two. How about a third one would be a radiant heating system that would work off of a boiler system that works with some sort of tankless system, and we can get into the weeds on that, but let's just start with radiant system.
Yeah, and let me just I'm sorry, I'm adding on to that.
Appreciate it.
Tankless system a little bit more complicated than the boiler, but the radiant is both the in-floor version versus the radiator version.
Yeah, my wife is from Boston, and when we go visit her family, they get those old school radiators, right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, like a baseboard radiator
Yeah.
or like a city sort of cast iron wall radiator.
Okay. So I think that's about four different systems we're talking about. And then there's geothermal, right? And geothermal isn't something that we do anything with because you need quite a bit of space to utilize the geothermal heating system. But the quick and dirty is you basically dig a giant pit in a giant area, and you suck the energy out of the ground and utilize that to heat your house by laying down coils of some sort of pipe. It could be some sort of PEX pipe or what have you, but that gets buried in the ground, and you need a lot of space for that. Anything you want to piggyback on that with, Pace?
Well, there's the land-based geothermal, and then there's actually a water-based geothermal, which you can stick into if you have like a pond or you're able to access a lake. You can actually put it in the water too.
There you go. Is there anything else we're missing? I think that pretty much covers most of the heating sources and
Yeah, I mean, there's specialty things out there, but I think those are your broad categories.
okay. Yeah, I mean, you got like your little electric radiant heat floor mat, right? We like to use those in bathrooms and such. Typically, we're not doing a whole house with a system like that. We're usually doing something smaller. But again, with
Well,
the
I mean, for me, growing up in Maine, like a wood stove. fireplace. Like let's take it back a couple hundred years,
There you go.
right? That was it back then.
Okay. So we've got a few different heat pump systems that we can utilize in heating. One is our mini split system where we have a single use register, not register, but a single use mounted mini split system that mounts on your wall, providing you with heat or can provide cooling. You can have a ceiling mounted register that is can be a ducted system that is run off of a heat pump that's outside. That's not really a mini split. That's just a heat pump
Conducted system.
heating system, ducted system. So, for me, like I'm in a small kind of office area right now in my house. I'm in a 20 by 20 room and I have installed a mini split system and this unit can heat my entire space in, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes and it can cool in just about the same amount of time. So, in terms of how this system works, it's really I love it. It does everything that I want it to do, and it's energy efficient. Now, if you're running solar, that's even better, right? So you've got free energy,
Free.
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 What about you, Pace? What do you have in your house?
So in my Petaluma house, I have a 30-year-old gas furnace, single zone, super inefficient. It's a high efficiency unit, an early one, but it's a single zone and it's a pretty big house with an open sort of central area. So it's very difficult to get the entire house comfortable. Like you can get hot areas and cold areas, but it's challenging. Back in Maine, everything is heat pumps, and I've got a mix of ducted systems and mini splits, and it's definitely the way to go. I mean, the natural cooling add-on is great, but just the ability to efficiently and quickly heat and cool a space, like you mentioned, it's a game changer, and solar will be in Maine one day for me, and I will just really reap the rewards of that. So yeah, I'm a giant fan. You mentioned or I mentioned maybe how the West Coast is a little behind the East Coast and certainly Europe on this. It's only been 5 years, I would say, that we've actively transitioned to heat pumps, and before that, never even heard of them out here. Um, didn't have a distributor, like nothing, and now it's the most common way that you heat your house and cool your house.
Yeah. And I think we touched a little bit on heat pump systems in the past, but give the people the 30-second rendition of how a heat pump system works and what people can expect.
Heat pump technology is like your refrigerator, right? You are drawing energy, not heat. Heat is the wrong word, but energy from the environment, and through a combination of compressing and expanding, you are using that heat to either heat. I'm sorry, you're using that energy to either heat or cool a space. So drawing the energy from the environment. And even if it might be 5 below outside, there's still energy in the air that you can draw, um, and heat a space. So units have gotten more and more efficient over the years. There used to be a lower threshold, think maybe 20 degrees, somewhere in that zone. And we're going back, 15 years ago. But now that the units are far more efficient and, they function efficiently below zero. So it's a great choice all across the United States.
Wow. Well, if we've learned something, it's that Pace does not know what 30 seconds is. But thank you. That was a great description. I think the
That is
people now.
true. I have trouble. I have a little clock next to me to monitor that, but I think it's
Yeah.
broken.
Well, look, we could keep talking about heating systems and all sorts of stuff for a while, but yeah, for me at my house, I have a gas furnace, and it was a single zone when I got the house, but we did have heating issues in a couple of bedrooms that I guess just aren't insulated that well. So we did add on a couple of zones, and you can do that. You can put on different multiple zones on your house if your heating system can handle it, if your furnace is large enough. But for us, we basically just put electronic dampers on the ducts that go to my kids' room, and each have their own thermostats.
There's multiple episodes where we'll talk about various heating type things. That was a broad brushstroke.
There you go.
Last week I talked about California's AB 253. That's Assembly Bill 253. And it's a step to reducing the time to get a building permit. And man, did I get some questions. It's controversial, I think, what I said. So I want to say just maybe a couple of things today, just for clarification. And it's talking with my wife over the weekend. We had this big conversation about how change happens. The conversation of like how you do something that has an impact on like inefficiencies, is what we were talking about. And like my response, and it's been this way for years, you've heard me talk about it, is you need a coalition, right? Like when there's a problem or you want something, a coalition is the answer. And the obvious example in California and then nationwide is the bike coalition, right? There's a reason there's bike lanes all across America. It started in San Francisco, right? And then it spread. And the bike coalition is, we're gonna get some hate mail here. It's a collection of people who are just passionate about their activity, right? And they group together to get what they want. And they will say, all right, there's a town hall meeting next Monday. We're all gonna go. We're all gonna stand up on the mic. We're all gonna say we want a safe bike lane, right? You do that over and over again, and that's the old squeaky wheel gets the grease. And that's why there's bike lanes everywhere, is because they stand up together and they repeat over and over what they want. In our case, we have this multiple problems within the building departments, right? But there's no obvious coalition, right? Like homeowners feel the pain when they're going through their remodel. They're one remodel of a lifetime, or they're two, right? But then after it's done, nobody wants to go to a town hall meeting. Nobody wants to stand up and speak. So it's tough to get that coalition together. The natural coalition is probably builders. It probably has to be us and us, people like us speaking up. But there's also the professional side of it, right? And I'm going to be controversial here. That's the architects, the designers, the engineers. So to clarify what AB 253 says, I was under the impression it was going to be a new sort of licensing category, but it's not. Like any licensed architect and engineer can do this work as long as they're not like, actively involved in the project making money. So you can't be both the designer on the project and then be the stamp. So like you could stamp something that you're not actively a part of, actively designing. And to me, the conflict there is you're making money. You're making money either way. Like the frustrations and the inefficiencies within a building and a planning department, every hour you spend in there, you get paid. And that's very different than you and I, right? And a homeowner. We are paying, not getting paid. So to me, there's a bit of a conflict there. And the controversial thing I'm saying is, I think that there's a lot of design professionals that benefit from this added category. You called it, I think, last week. And it costs money. They're making money. Homeowners are spending money. I think maybe we benefit from a time standpoint, but yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Well, look, if you're an architect or an engineer, I mean, this is exciting. This is a new revenue stream for them, right? So, I mean, the downside is the people that are paying them are the people that have the money to do so. So I think what you're saying, Pace, is this really hurts the people that their project is taking more than 30 days, but they really don't have the money to afford to pay a third party like this architect or engineer that maybe is able to do this work. I mean, you and I have talked about this before, and you did a good job of explaining how you felt, and also not just how you felt, but the reality is we figured out the root of the problem. But your words were, it's just kind of taking a pill, right? It's not really solving the problem. But look, if you're an architect or an engineer, you're probably pretty happy, right?
Yeah, to me, it's kind of, I would love it if our coalition, to go back to the bike people, right? If the builders and the design professionals could really come together and demand change within the building and planning departments, that would be probably our power, right? But it feels like um, what is the reason, right, for the design professionals? I mean, I'm sure it's frustrating, but you're getting paid for every hour you spend, with these inefficiencies. So you're not that motivated, it seems to me.
Yeah. Well, we have a couple of great relations with the architects, and we're gonna bring one of them on, and I would love to hear their take on this. I mean, this is new to everybody, so I don't even know if many people know about it. We just got the news ourselves, but it'd be great to have that chat.
Yeah, I really want to. My goal is obviously not to burn bridges. I know that you and I talk about that all the time, but I really want to, at the core, make things more efficient and better. And I think that's a noble thing to want.
All right, well, let's this is the part of the show where we talk about something interesting on a job, and I'm going to kind of piggyback a little bit about what we talked about in the last show. In the last show, we talked about job organization and cleanliness, and when you have a nice clean job site, it really shows the people that are coming on, your subcontractors, how they should take care of your space. It helps when your inspector comes and he really sees that you guys take pride in keeping a clean site and doing a good job, and your homeowners appreciate it too. But part of keeping a clean job site and an organized job site is keeping a safe and secure job site, right? I mean, if you're a contractor and you haven't had your tools stolen or a job site broken into, it's probably because you've only been in the business as a contractor for a couple of years, because it's going to happen. It always does. It's probably happened, I don't know, 5 times in my entire career. Pace, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's around there. It's it happens everywhere, but in an urban environment, like I think it's more than five for me for sure. Um, there was a period it felt like we got robbed maybe 3 times in a 4 or 5 year period. And we've got a lot of money in tools. you know there's a
Yeah.
lot of money on job sites always, and it hurts. You don't want to do an insurance claim because your rates go up, so you're trying to pay for it out of pocket.
Yeah. I mean, look, after I think the second time we had it happen, or no, after the first one, we got insurance for that sort of thing. It is worth having that insurance. And it doesn't matter where you are. I mean, sure, it happens more so in an urban environment. I mean, we worked in San Francisco for so many years, and there were certainly that was the bulk of our break-ins. I mean, we're in an environment now in Marin County where we don't see it, but it's out there, and we're more prepared for it, I think, because of what we went through in San Francisco. I remember, man, I remember one job site. We were pretty secure. The guys had all their toolboxes. Even if you have them all padlocked up, people will cut into them. But when you're in kind of the rough framing stage, and there are areas where there are no windows and you don't have a piece of plywood up, people can climb in, and in a private environment, they can cut your toolbox open where people can't really see it. And this was actually when I was a carpenter, and another carpenter that I worked with, his security measure was to take an entire sheet of plywood. He shot, I don't know, 1,000 nails into a piece of plywood, and then put that piece of plywood on the inside of the opening of the window. So if someone crawled in, they would have fallen on a bed of nails. There you go. There's one security measure. But in any case, it's important. Sometimes you need to have video cameras up. And when you do these things too, you want to have a place for your homeowner to know where keys are so that they can go into the space. I mean, for example, we just left on holiday, and we had our entire space locked up. So we just wanted to inform the homeowner where all that stuff was, so they can have access, because they want to walk through and take everything in and plan, for their future design. But yeah, what do you have to say about that, Pace?
Yeah, I mean, that was the interesting thing. It's never a good thing that you don't communicate your updated uh, lockbox code to the homeowners. So you break for holiday and they want to get in and they can't. So yeah, the other side of the security that you put in and the access control is making sure the people that you want in there can get in there. Um, that's it.
Well, I think I think that's it, Pace. We're wrapping up before Christmas and right after Hanukkah. Happy holidays to everybody. Anything you want to say before we sign off?
No, we'll see you on the other side. Have great holidays, everybody.
All right. Happy holidays. I'm Adam.
And I'm Pace.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us on Build Connected. For more stories, insights, and ideas, visit diamondhomerestoration.com or find us on Instagram and LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. We hope you will too.